For United WFC. Hello, welcome back to All for United WFC. There's 6 of us. It's been a while since we've had a show, and there's been 6 people on this panel. But I mean, look at the panel we've got. So less talking for me, which I said backstage, is probably a good thing because not many people like my opinions nowadays. So we've obviously got the Lioness game on in the background. Barry and Ellie will be keeping us all up to date. What's happening with that game as well. But we've got so much to talk about with all the news with Ona. We've got talking about investment and another international break, and also Chess is going to give us a little bit of an insight into what it was like at the new camp as well, because obviously that was a momentous day for women's football, not just for Barcelona. So we'll get into all of that. Let's see how everybody is though first. Let's go around the house. Barry, good to have you back on. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad at all. Thank you very much for having us back. Good to be here.
Nice and easy. Yeah, I know. That was sort of short than I thought. Usually you go on a little bit.
Lots of people to get round today.
Nice one. Ellie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on, Connor.
Good. Absolutely no problem. And firstly, our first debutant, Chess. Welcome to the channel. How are you doing?
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for having me on today. Thank you for inviting me. For the people who are listening in or watching wherever you are, my name's Chess Warren. I'm the presenter of the Women's Football Podcast. And when I don't have to be journalistically impartial, I am a massive Manchester United fan.
It would have been a bit bad if you'd have come on and said, "Oh, I'm a massive City fan." That could have.
I'm in the wrong place.
That may have not gone down too well. But
you say that, but at the Old Trafford game, I did see one of the Manchester City Supporters Club people there wearing a United shirt. So we can come to that later if you want to. But that I'm not quite at that level. But no, when I don't have to be impartial, I am a true Red. So there you go.
That's almost as bad as Mark Stannard. If you're watching this, that's almost as bad as him. He's a Villa fan, but obviously comes to United games with his United shirt. So sorry, I've just called him out right there. Over to our second debutant, Kirsty. Thanks for coming on. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm really excited, to be honest. This is my first talk about football. I always talk to my friends. I annoy them, but I've never had the opportunity to talk live with foreigners, first of all, because I am from Malta, the little island of Malta. If you don't know where that is, it's right under Sicily. But yeah, this is exciting. I can't wait. So thank you for the invite.
Nice one, absolutely no worries. And Andrew, is that fresh trim as well, ready for this?
Yeah. Well, she thought better get it cut. It's getting a bit too sticking out everywhere, so I thought get it cut. But yeah, all good. Thanks for having me on.
Nice one, absolutely no worries. Right, we'll get straight into the main bulk of obviously today's conversation. We'll talk about obviously Ona and all of the news that suddenly broke. I think it's all been on United fans' kind of conversations recently. Jackie and Ona, Russo, Milito, all these names that are thrown out with out of contract potentially in the summer. I'll just get kind of everyone's initial thoughts of the prospect of maybe losing her, because there's no guarantee that she will stay. So I'll go around the house on that one first. And Barry, I'll come to you first and then just maybe the impact of, can we afford to lose her? She's been a key player, particularly this season.
Can we afford to lose her? At the moment, no, probably not. And that's the dodgy part, isn't it, really? Because you go back to any great Man United side, there is no such thing as a footballer that's bigger than the club. So we can't be in a situation where we can ever get to that point where one player we're fawning over and saying we can't do without them. I think John actually tweeted something that was quite good, which was that if we're going to get rid of her, we have to get enough money in to get someone or two world-class players that are going to help to improve the squad. So if it's going to help us to do that, then fair enough. But no, we don't really want her to go. There's a reason why she is the most highly rated player in our squad at the moment, and that's because she is so good. The fact that Barcelona wants her should tell us everything we need to know about this player. This isn't Chelsea coming and knocking just because they don't want us to have them. This is top quality footballers who know what they're talking about. So yeah, we can't really afford to lose her. Not if we are serious about being part of the the UEFA Champions League ourselves. I don't think we can. No, I think we absolutely need to keep her, and I think she owes us a year. To be honest with you, so Honor, if you're watching, no, you're staying.
She may well be. She may well be. It's interesting you mentioned Chelsea actually, because they were mentioned as well as being one of the clubs potentially, and that wouldn't surprise me either. Emma Hayes does what Fergie used to do with United Men's a few years ago, just scout the rest of the league and nick the best players of everyone else so they can't improve. So that wouldn't surprise me either. Ellie, where do you stand on this then? Do you think United can afford to maybe not move her on? That sounds bad, but maybe afford to lose her. And I shouldn't have laid it up like that. But do you think United can afford to lose her and maybe bring in a replacement?
No, I don't think so, because at the Old Trafford game, she really stood out to me. Like, she was fabulous in that game. So, there've been rumours about, is it I can't say her name. Litizzi, the
from Brighton.
The young, her. There's been rumours of her, or what's the other one? Is it the other player?
Everybody to be there. Ashley Neville was the other one that was mainly linked.
Neville, yeah. So, we really can't lose. I was gutted the other day when Emma put that on Twitter. I was like, no, we can't lose her, really. For sure we can't. We really can't lose her. Like, she just stood out, so she's been really good this season, I think. So if we lose her, it'll be like a massive shock, because they've said, oh yeah, she might be going back to Barca or Chelsea. Chelsea's a no-go. She can't go to Chelsea. Honestly, cannot go there. But then there's talks of moving back to Barcelona, because that's her hometown. And if she goes, we do need a replacement. But I don't see Neville coming. I don't see Neville. It has to be the other one. Yeah, it has to be the other one for me.
It's a fair shout. I wouldn't want to see Ona going to Chelsea either. I'm sure we'd all agree on that one. That would be horrible. Chess, where do you stand on this thing? Where do you think, if Ona, I think for her own ambitions, maybe, Barcelona's going to be hard for us to turn that down if that is true. Can United maybe afford to let her go over there?
I think if the best club in the world comes knocking on your door, the club that's consistently winning the Champions League, seemingly demolishing all of the opponents, and also a club that a lot of your national team teammates play for, comes knocking at your door, are you going to say no? If it works for you, then potentially. But I think the bigger picture of this is looking at why she came to the club in the first place. Why was she scouted? So a young talent, she was 19 when she signed on a 2-year +1 contract. And in her first year won the Player of the Year award for the club. I can't remember if that was internal or voted for externally. But it's looking at our recruitment style, I think. If we're wanting young, exciting players who are then potentially going to move on elsewhere, I would love her to stay. Trust me, she's a delight to watch on the pitch, and you can see that kind of Spanish style that we're talking about for looking forward to the Euros as well, that kind of exciting, quick football that makes them so dangerous. You can see that in the way that she plays and her versatility as well. She's a fantastic player, and she's still incredibly young, which kind of adds another layer to it as well, because you do watch her play and think she's just going to get better. But if we were able to scout someone like that, then I'm sure someone else could be found outside of someone like Maya Le Tissier, who I think she's just recently become the most had the most WSL appearances as a teenager in the league, just overtaking Jess Carter, or that might have been someone else. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was a Brighton player, but someone like that. Or then I probably don't think Ash Neville, although she's having a wonderful season. She's in my fantasy team, I have to admit. But she's having a brilliant season. But I think probably fitting into this squad at the moment, we're known for having some really good young talent. So it's whether it's finding someone else to kind of fill that hole instead. And looking back and thinking, you know what, we can actually have the confidence in ourselves to find another player like that who we're going to pick up at 19.
Yeah, it's an interesting shout. I'll throw the same question before we open this up to a wider discussion. I'll throw the same question to yourself, Kirsty. And also, obviously, we were chatting backstage because I saw your tweet the other day that we can't let her leave, surely, because she, I believe, she spelled your name wrong when she signed your United shirt. So that's one.
Yeah.
If Ona is watching, you got to.
Yeah. I'll show it to her. So I was lucky enough to go to the Lay Sports Village and watch the team and had some autographs and some pictures. And she wrote my name. I don't know if you can see it here. She wrote it as CHRISTI, and my name is spelled KIRSTY. So I'll only accept that spelling just for her, just for her. But yeah, obviously, I agree with everyone's comments that they said. She's very important to the team. But I think if she decides to leave, you can't keep her against her will, because then that just gets toxic. But if she decides to leave, the most important thing is to find someone that fits the style the team wants to play, because it's good to have big names in the team, but if we find someone who fits what we need, I think that really will be helpful for us to move on. But obviously, we're going to feel her presence if she leaves, because she's a very good player and she is very important to the way we shift from a defensive transition to an attacking transition. So yeah, it would be a big loss. But I think if you, like we said, if you can get two players, maybe United need to work really strategically on this situation. And also in women's game now, I play football or amateur football, but when it comes to women's game, national teams have a big say on where you're gonna play. So if they, the national team pushes her, look, you will have better chemistry in the team if you go to Barca. It happens. It happens in an amateur level. I'm sure they can pressure her, and it can happen in the professional level. So we see it sometimes in the men's, where coaches come out and say, look, this guy is not doing well for his club. He has no future with his national if he doesn't leave. So I'm not saying she's playing bad for us, but the national might say, look, you will fit better if you play regularly for Barca, for example. So it depends on what situation she's in. So if she is happy and she feels that she's still going to get her place in Spain and she wants to stay in Manchester to do something different, or maybe a different challenge, which at the moment winning trophies with United is harder than Barcelona, because Barcelona are more developed at the moment. She could go for that challenge. She might say, look, I want to win trophies now. I am guaranteed Champions League at the moment, and with the way I'm playing, I deserve to play Champions League, so I want to go to Barca. So I think at the end of the day, it's up to her and what she wants to achieve at the moment and what she sees in her future. So that's the way I see it. I think United just need to make sure that they know where they want to go in the future. They have a plan, and if Neville is the best way to move forward, then I'm pretty sure they would have done a lot of homework on it. I trust the women's recruiting because we have done some good signings. So I hope that we continue, and obviously we improve. We cannot afford to lose big players, because we're going to keep on missing out on Champions League, and let City, Chelsea, and Arsenal just stay comfortable in a way, and Tottenham can creep up and we can get leapfrogged. So yeah, I just hope that whatever happens, we just make the right decision based on what the team needs at the end of the day. That's the most important thing. So that's my thoughts on that.
It's interesting points you're making. That's actually going to lead into a topic, obviously, Chess is going to bring up in a short while, in terms of United's ambitions and sustainability leading forward. So we will come back to that. Andrew, I'll just come to you lastly on this, in terms of losing it, because as you know, you stand near me at most games, and you always hear me saying, we need to keep hold of our world-class players and add to it, not let world-class players go and just replace like for like. So where do you kind of stand on this then, before we open this up to a wider debate?
I was going to say, I wouldn't want to see her leave. I say, since she's arrived at United, she's definitely become a fan's favourite. Obviously, she's good both defensively and not in the attack as well. She's had a fine season so far, but that's also brought interest from other clubs, namely Barcelona being reported, obviously in the past with Chelsea. just obviously she's got those connections with Barcelona. She's like spent 6 years there in her younger days. So it'll be interesting to see when it comes to the end of the season what she decides to do. Obviously, Skinner said I think recently about contract renewals coming up. This is all being looked at now with regards to the next phase of this squad. So, and I think it's United's intention to exercise that option, but at the moment they're just not doing it. I'm just thinking they're just wanting for the season to finish and then it all gets announced. But and I think I think she did an interview like last month saying she's leaving Spain was always something she wanted to do, and playing at another league and improving her English as well, and obviously saying she's enjoying her time in Manchester. But on the other hand, she said her ambitions to play Champions League, and obviously United are locked in battle with City for that Champions League place. And I just think if we were just to narrowly miss out on it, would that sway Ona's mind to say, well, I need to go and play Champions League football? I'm just thinking, like with Barcelona, that game against Real Madrid, they was playing in front of 90,000 fans, and I think the next Champions League game Barcelona have got, I think it's literally sold out the new camp again. So I'm just thinking, for a player like she wants to be playing in front of those big crowds as well. So, and obviously, Ona's not saying what she's decided to do. I know in February she just refused to address her future or what she's doing, which I can understand because you're in the middle of a season with the United, so you don't want to say, "Oh, this is what I intend to do." So, yeah, I wouldn't want to see her go, but like I say, we won't want to keep her against her will. But the saying, it's whether Mark Skinner's got, the transfer targets. If Ona was to leave, he's got somebody suitable lined up, because I think she would be definitely a big loss for us. But we'll just have to see come the end of the season what happens.
Yeah, 100%. It leads me in. Andrew, you should be hosting this. You've led me in nicely into kind of the next little segue I wanted to talk about when it comes to Ona. Oh, we've lost one. Didn't like my hosting, clearly. I'm sure Ellie will be right back. But it kind of leads in terms of her value. And I'll just bring this graphic. We tweeted it earlier. In terms of, sorry, I've just covered half the panel up. I've just realised there.
Sorry, you've just lost me. That's fine. Probably the best one you could lose.
We've got to lean to the side.
Yeah.
That's it. Kirsty, you lead. That's it. Brilliant. I'll keep it like that for the rest of the show. That's perfect.
Sorry about that, Barrett. But it's talking there in terms of a market value. Now, obviously, this is estimations. But the main reason I want to bring this up is obviously talking there about her essentially being United's most valuable player. There we go. Got Ellie back. Sorry. Musical. Oh, bloody hell. Hang on.
Musical chairs. There you go.
What's going on
there we
here?
go.
I'm dizzy now.
God, this is not professional at all. I'm John Foster. If you're watching this back, don't sack me. I quite like this. Quite like this Friday show. But yeah, talking about the market value there, and obviously, Andrew, you mentioned about the club exercising the 1 year. That is very obvious. It's on the club's side now. They will do that, I would have thought, because they'd be stupid not to. But Ona could then turn around and go, well, I don't want to play for you. I'm not saying she's that kind of character, but she could quite easily go, well, I want to leave. Now the question I want to pose to all of you, and I said we'll open this up. Barry, I'll let you go first now then. If we were to sell her, what kind of numbers would or should United be asking for?
I've already answered this question to a Barcelona fan on Twitter earlier. And I suggested £100 million and a dairy milk for me to drown my sorrows with. Looking at what you've just put on, it's probably going to be a little bit less than that. Listen, I think, number one, she has to sign, she has to allow that contract to be extended. I would almost put it in the same sort of bracket as Ronaldo. Not saying that she is Ronaldo, but obviously Fergie managed to get him to stay for that extra year. And that extra year was so important to us. And I think she needs to do that as well. I think, the club has helped her to get to where she is. She's in the position she's in, having played for Manchester United Football Club, not for Barcelona. And I do think there needs to be an element there of her paying the club back to a degree. And I don't think the club can allow her to just walk away without any money coming into it. That would just be ridiculous and not the sort of thing that would be helpful. Having said that, Andrew's spot on. We can't also keep a player who wants to go and play. Can you blame her to want to go and play in the new camp in front of 90,000 people? I mean, that would scare the living daylights out of me. But clearly this is something she wants to do, and I can't blame her for that. That is, just something people can only dream of. So, for me, the numbers that we're seeing there, I would expect to see enough money, as I said before, for us to be able to get some more world-class players in. So, according to the WSL, you'll be looking at people like Kerr and Miedemar as being the holy grail in terms of money. So, I'm expecting that 500,000. I'm expecting money that's going to get players of her ilk in. And, it's Barcelona. I know they were a little bit skint earlier on, but they managed to wrangle it. So give us your cash, Barca. You want her, pay up. We can't just let her go for free. Having said that, also, do we have any players in-house that could replace her? Who knows? That might make a difference. Hansen at right back, maybe? Hansen in? Valencia,
you had to get that in there somewhere, didn't you?
Got it in there.
I was going to say maybe Kirsty Smith, but I know she's more left back. But Mark's going to switch her to right back?
I have played right back a bit, but full back is I can play it, but it's a bit of a struggle at the moment. So I'd prefer to play as a wing on the wing.
Just put one of your shirts on and run onto the pitch. I'm sure they won't.
Yeah,
notice.
I think I should.
It's fine. It'll be fine.
Next time I should do that. To be honest, need a player.
I can't believe Barry's managed to get Hansen in on a talk about Ona. It's if people who haven't seen the show before, every time Barry's on, we're trying to get a hashtag trending. It's not worked yet. Obviously Hansen's not been in the starting 11, so we tried to get it going on this show once. It was a few weeks ago now, wasn't it, Barry? But hashtag Hansen in, and it's not really worked just yet. She'll get there. Ellie, same question to yourself then. What kind of money do you think United should be asking for? Should that year be extended and then say Barcelona or Chelsea, whoever it may be, come sniffing around? You are on mute, by the way. Sorry.
So I
Oh, the Wi-Fi's gone again.
She really doesn't like hosting, does she?
Yeah, I was about to say she doesn't want to answer the question. That was a real no comment. Do you want me to jump in?
Yeah, go for it. I will just quickly shout out our number 7, by the way. I believe has scored. So
too good.
Take it away.
She's happy.
Yeah, no, I think for Ona, you can, especially with Barca getting the new Spotify sponsorship, because if you were asking me this question about a year ago, I'd be like, there's no way that we're getting any money for this player whatsoever because they don't have any. But now they do. Now they have a lovely little sponsorship deal with Spotify, naming rights to the new camp. It will now be the Spotify Arena. Wow, interesting. But because of that, and I think with the increased coverage of Barcelona over this Champions League run, I think we could quite realistically be looking at a record-breaking transfer fee for her. I don't actually think that's too much to say because let's be honest, at the moment it's £250,000, which was in 2019. Was it 2019 for Pernilla Harder? Yeah, I think it was 2019. But so that was 3 years ago, pre-pandemic. And then we're kind of having a bounce back. It will be off the back of the Women's Euros, which are happening in July. And if Spain do well as well, it's like it kind of adds on and adds on and adds on, doesn't it? Like when you're looking at kind of like how you're going to bump her value a little bit. I would say that it would be legitimately worth about £500,000. I don't think that would be shocking. I don't think that would be too much of a big ask. I don't want her to leave. Put a 10 mil price tag on her and I'll fight you when she's leaving the Lee Sports Village. But it's definitely likely to be a record-breaking transfer, whether that is 300,000 and or above. But it depends how much it goes for. Or they press the contract extension button on it and then sell her anyway. It depends, I think, on a lot. There's a lot of mitigating factors as to whether she's going to stay or not. But again, we can have this conversation going round in circles, whether she will stay, whether she won't stay, what the implications of that will be. But we're going to have to replace her in a year anyway, because I don't think it's likely that we're going to be able to get a a new contract out of her if she does stay for the next season. So we're going to need to be looking at replacements anyway, whether they're brought in this season or next season.
Can I also just say on that as well? I shared something that Tooney and Russo did on the FA player earlier on. They were asked who's the future Ballon d'Or potential within the club, and they all picked Ona Batlle. So, that's just added an extra $100,000 on right there. That one statement.
Or owner, as Tooney lovingly said. But yeah, no, I completely agree. If she carries on in her current form, she is so young. She's 22. It'll be very interesting to see what happens in the future. I'm just going to be disappointed that we won't see many more seasons of her and Hemp trying to fight each other in the Manchester derby, because that has been a very interesting thing that I've enjoyed this season so far.
100%. Ellie, I'll see if you. I don't know if you are back with us. Obviously, we're still on the topic of price tags. I'm hoping you can get your say on this.
Well, I agree with Barry. Sorry about it. I agree with Barry with the amount, but do you know what I'm wide on? If we get Champions League, I reckon it really, if we get Champions League, I do think she'll stay. But if we don't, then I think she'll go.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that one. I'm going to come round to each in a moment in terms of. I'm just going to ask you a quick fire question on whether she's going to sign or not. So pre-warning that. I don't usually give pre-warnings on my little quick fire questions that I like to put out throughout the show. Kirsty, Andrew, Kirsty, I'll come to you first. What do you reckon price tag wise then? I said 500k has been mentioned between that region, 500 to $1 million.
Yeah, 500k I think would be the dream kind of price tag. I mean, obviously, if you can get the 700k would be obviously better, but I think 500k would be reasonable for us. But honestly, it rarely goes your way when it comes to the end of the contract, and if you go with the Champions League and things get a bit iffy, so they will negotiate probably for less, and she would go for less. How much she would go, I don't know. Maybe she'd go for 300k. Give or take. The 500k obviously is what maybe we would love to get, because it's a nice sum of money in the women's game, but maybe I don't think we will get that type of money. So it would be it's going to be a very tricky situation, because like some of you said, it's gonna depend on if we qualify this year for Champions League. Maybe she would be like, I'll get to play Champions League. So it depends on her priorities. What does she want? Is she being told to go to Barcelona? Does she want to go back to Barcelona now? Maybe she wants to win trophies now. Or is her dream at the moment just to compete in the Champions League, and we would be in the Champions League, and that would be good enough for her. But when it comes to price tag, I don't think United have the how do you call it? They're not in the best situation to demand, look, we want this much, because Barca will say, okay, we'll let time do its thing and we'll get her for free, which we cannot afford to do that. So we try and juice as much as we can, but I think it's a very difficult situation, unfortunately. So it can go in so many ways, but I think, in my opinion, I don't see her staying here for long. So if we can get another year out of her, that would be nice. But I don't know. It's a bit tricky, because even if you look at the last fixtures we have, I think our last game is against Chelsea in the league, and we haven't had a good record against Chelsea. So I'm not saying there's no chance, but it's very tricky for us, And City have a decent amount of fixtures unless something happens. It's football. 90 minutes, anything can happen, and we have 90 times 3, so anything can happen. But we are no way to. If United have a good plan, like, look, maybe we sell her now, we have this plan. It depends what United are planning at the end of the day. So it's a very tricky situation. I do not want to be in their shoes, definitely. So, because obviously she's loved by the fans, and if she leaves, nobody's going to be happy about that. So, but if United do have a good plan, then I think, I won't say people would forget about her easily, but we kind of can move on, and hopefully the club can continue to progress. So that's what I think about the situation.
Go on, Andrew. Tell us that she's going to sign a new contract and everything's going to be great.
I hope so. I hope so. If United do exercise that option and then Ona decides she wants to leave, then I think United should seek a record fee for her. But it's like if it's Barcelona that want and United try and play hardball and saying we want this much, Barcelona, like Kirsty said, it could just go, well, we'll wait another year and then we get it for nothing. So, but I'd like her to sign that contract, but it all depends on that Champions League. And if we did get it, Ona might decide, well, I might stay longer than the year. I might want to sign for another couple of years. So I just think, I wouldn't want to, as I say, keep her against her will. So it's just in terms of a value, I think. So now we sold like Lauren James to Chelsea for like 200 grand, and that was including a player as well, Hannah Blundell coming to us as well. So I just think we should be. It would be great to get that 500. K from whoever that team may be, but I just think this is like in the men's game, the equivalent of Ona in the men's game, you'd be looking at 40-50 million. Ona is that good. And I just think, obviously, with the women's game growing, transfer fees are going to start to rise up. So I just think, I don't know. It just all depends how those last few games go in the season, whether it's the deciding factor for Ona, that Champions League, or is she seen what she's seen from Mark Skinner and the team itself, the progress, and would she give us one more year? And then if we didn't get Champions League and then next year she stays, and then we did get in the Champions League, would she stay after that? It's sort of more like if buts and maybes at the moment. So it's all we'll have to see what happens.
100%. I'm going to ask each of you then, kind of wrapping up the Ona discussions. I'm actually going to ask you 2 quick fire questions each. I'll go around in the order that it is on screen. So Barry, I'll come to you first. Two quick fire questions. I mean, you can make it longer if you really want to. But one thing, if Ona leaves, is Ashley Neville, or should Ashley Neville be the number 1 priority? I know that's not what Emma Sanders said. She is a target, but would you accept that if Ona left and Ashley Neville were to come in? And as a follow-up to that then, do you think Ona will sign another deal this summer? Not the extension, not the 1 year, which we know that United will trigger. But do you think she'll sign, let's say, a 2 or 3 year deal? Okay,
so another one I can deal with quickly. My overriding memory of her was her on her backside when Russo took the ball past her for a goal against Spurs. So no, thank you. Maya Letitia, maybe. So that answers that one. Or somebody else who I haven't heard of yet, who these guys are paid to scout and know better than me. With regards to Ona, will she sign another contract? Listen, City are going to win all of their last games. That's going to happen because that's just what's written in the stars. We're also going to win all of our last games. I think we're going to beat Chelsea. The problem is, are we going to beat Chelsea 15-0 like we're probably going to need to after City have finished with Birmingham and Leicester? And I'm struggling a bit with that one. No matter how much the heart wants it, the head's going, no, Barry, that's not going to happen. So I think the big problem is that we're probably not going to be in the Champions League next season at this horrific rate. So, no, she's not going to sign a new contract and she will be gone within the next 13 months. Now, can I have my dairy milk?
Oh, that's depressing. Thanks. I'm hoping the rest of the palace will tell me yes, but anyway.
Hang on, sorry, positivity. Yes, she will. She'll sign a new one.
No. You say what to be fair. It's hard to disagree, to be fair. Andrew, same question to yourself.
I think for Ashnell, I think she's a competent player, and like I said, she would be a good addition if Ona was to leave. But I just say I haven't seen enough of Ashnell yet to make my mind up whether she. Whether she'd be suited to the style of play for United, or like they say, there's Letitia as well that could come in as well. But I say if we get I'll say United are going to exercise that 1 year option. But if we get Champions League, I can see Ona staying beyond that, the year. But just like getting into Champions League is then, keep re-qualifying for the Champions League. And I think Ona might decide, I will stay for the longer term. And she said she does like living in Manchester, and obviously when she came, it was like COVID and pandemic. Obviously, couldn't get out as much. So I just think she's getting used to being living in Manchester. So it could all work out if we win all our games, and Man City may drop points somewhere, hopefully, or don't score as many goals. So yeah, I think she'll stay if we get Champions League.
It is a tough one because I think people forget as well that these people obviously are humans, and if you've got the choice of living in Barca, living in Manchester, I love Manchester and everything, but if you've got the choice, and all your friends as well. I know she's got friends obviously over here in England, but majority of her childhood friends as well obviously would be over in Spain. So
obviously, like the weather in Manchester, she said, "Oh, I'm happy when it's sunny in Manchester." So obviously, Barcelona a bit more sunnier on a regular basis than Manchester.
Same questions for yourself and Ellie. Do you think Ashley Neville would be a suitable replacement, and also do you think Ona will sign a new deal in the summer?
No, for Ashley Neville, definitely not. I think is it? I can't even say her name, but Letizia. That's it. I think her, yeah, because did you see that tackle she did on Leah on Sunday? Was it? Yeah, Sunday. Like to stop her attack. She'll be good, I think, for us if Ona was to leave, though. Ashley Neville, no, because like what's been said, she won't the style of playing we play, and then on the signing a new contract, I really do hope so. But like Andrew said, it's if we get Champions League, I reckon. And do you know what? At the minute I said I was manifesting it. I really am, but I don't know because City have got such easy games now, and come on, we can't see them really losing all them games. They'll put like 5 past them too. So then, and also Chelsea, I don't know. We might even lose that. We might win. I hope for a draw, but then the points will be shared then, won't they? So then it just all lies on goal difference. And if we get Champions League, if we do, she will stay. I know she will. But then if we don't, she'll want to go back home because then they'll be in Champions League next season. And I know that she'll want to play Champions League. So it all lies in Champions League, I suppose, and the points. Yeah.
It's fair point. I'm actually going to throw in a bonus question for Chess and Kirsty, actually, because obviously David's on the channel. So same 2 questions, but I'm going to add a final one. Are United going to make top 3 or not? There you go. Just for you two, because we've not, obviously, us 4 have been on the channel for a few weeks now. What do you reckon? Chess, obviously, I'll let you go first on those 3.
So Ash Neville, I don't think she is the gal for the job to replace Ona. Whether she has another place at the club, I couldn't confidently tell you whether she would or not, but I think we're kind of known for our young talent, and so I think looking at someone like Maya Letizia or other players, again, as you said, Barry, that we've never even heard of because that's not what I get paid to do, unfortunately. I think for Champions League, I think there's a difference between qualifying for Champions League, being in the Champions League, and competing for Champions League. I think those are 3 very, very different things. And I also think that has an impact as well. We can qualify for Champions League, absolutely wonderful, and then play a couple of games in August and, oh, whoops, we've done what City did this year and fallen out of it again. There's a lot of talk at the moment about how there aren't any WSL teams left in the Champions League and only Arsenal made it out of the group stages. We're asking the question of, I know we speak about the WSL and we say it's the best league, it's the most competitive league, but actually when we come across these huge teams that are based in Europe that potentially don't play in as competitive leagues, but are just better sides, is it the best league in the world? And we have the ability to, and it's come around more this season where we're playing with a lot more togetherness and we can pull out results like the 2-2 against City. We beat them in the Conti Cup. We managed to draw with Arsenal and stuff like that, beat them in the League Cup, for example. But like if those are like amazing games when 100% everything's going right, thank you for the score update, where everything's going right, are we going to get that every single time we walk out in the Champions League in that pre-season in August? And I think that also plays a role in it as well. Because if you're going away to a team like Barcelona, you know they're going to get to the quarters or the semis. It would be awful if they didn't. Of course they're going to. Have you seen the caliber of their squad? But she's had an incredible time at United where she's been playing first team football for the past 2 years, maybe 3 if there's the contract extension there and she does stay. And ultimately you weren't going to be doing that at that age if you were going to go straight to Barcelona. You're not going to have that level of experience. Do I think we're going to get top 3? Well, that's the question on everyone's lips, isn't it? I would absolutely love it to happen, but I would also love it to come down to the game at the end of the season. We're playing Chelsea at Kingsmeadow. That's going to be a fixture. Obviously, we all know what happened when that was at the Lee Sports Village. Were we in a different place then than we are now? Maybe. Are the defensive issues still potentially the same? Now, more so because we've got a massive amount of injuries and a lot of stuff's gone wrong that we couldn't even comprehend. Obviously, Millie Turner's out with an injury that is kind of a bit mystical and we don't really know what's wrong, but it's not her fault because there's something wrong with an artery in her neck. So she's out for as long as she needs to be. Of course, we wish her all the best coming back there. But she's kind of the solid of our defence. And then Aoife, obviously, has now re-injured her ACL, which is awful and not something that anyone could have foreseen. But so the two kind of strong parts of our centre-back pairing that would be the two that would keep that attacking prowess of Harder, Kerr and Kirby away are now injured. And so we're still going to have that same issue. But I would obviously love us to. I'd love us to qualify for end top 3. I'd love us to qualify for Champions League. And I'd also want it to go down to that last 3, because as much as I don't want Arsenal to win the league, it would be absolutely hysterical if we stop Chelsea winning on the last day of the season at their home ground. Sorry, Emma Hayes, just got to say it. It would be quite beautiful, wouldn't it? Even if we didn't make Champions League, would be truly poetic. But yeah, that's kind of my thought on that. Sorry, it was a bit of a long-winded answer there. I'll pass over to Kirsty.
Yeah, I think you said everything I wanted to say. So. Yeah, but
Scobby, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But where was the first question? I to be honest, I don't know much about Neville. It's already a struggle to watch women's Man United women over here. So I try my best to find a game on. Sometimes I just check the live score, so it's a bit difficult to watch games. So let alone watching other teams is a bit of a struggle. So I really have no idea. So I can't really say if she fits us or not, if she's good to us for us to go forward, if she's a good replacement. So I don't know. I'm going to be honest with that. But I saw her once and I wasn't impressed, but everyone can have a one-off game. So I will not judge her on one game, definitely. So I can't really answer that question. So, but can we get Champions League? I mean, football is football. You never know. You can have the best the game and lose. You can have the worst game and win. Everything could fall into place for us. Everything could go badly for us. You just, as players, they just need to focus on next game and give their best. I think the most important thing for us is to go on the pitch and give everything. I think that's the first thing I have to do. And obviously the result will come. Normally it comes when you give your best, you get a decent result. But like we said, Chelsea is a very good team. A team that didn't have the best result, as Jess said, at home. So will that play in our players' minds? Will that affect the players, mentally? I hope not. I hope they understand this is another 90 minutes. It's just a different game. So yeah, I'd love it to be to the end of the season, a bit more drama on the WSL. It would be really exciting, to have a say in the title and obviously qualify. Can we qualify? I think we can. I think we have a good game, but I think we need a bit of luck as well on our side. But I think we can. Is it difficult? Very, very difficult. But I speak as if I'm going to play myself, because I have this mentality, when I go in a game, it's like, yeah, of course we can do it. I don't like to think negatively on this, because if you think negatively with 3 games to go, then there's no excitement. So I love to go and say, yeah, we have a chance. until the final whistle and it's confirmed we're not there. I still believe we have a chance. Will Ona stay if we qualify for Champions League? It depends what she wants. Does she want to play in the Champions League, like Chess said? Does she want to compete in the Champions League? Does she want to win the Champions League? Also, apart from Champions League, does she want to win trophies in general? So that's something that at that age, is she at United to develop herself to win something? Is she going to stay here in the long run and watch this team grow and be part of a team that was something small and growing, getting bigger? I think it depends on what she desires. What does she desire next year? Does she desire to play in the Champions League just to have this experience in the Champions League? Does she want to compete? But also like Chess said, we do struggle against the top three in England, and the top three in England are not the best in Europe. I mean, I've been watching Bayern, I've been watching Wolfsburg, and Bayern also these last 2 seasons have really gained some momentum. So can we compete with that? PSG also have entered the scene. Also, Barcelona are Barcelona at the moment, and Lyon obviously have the experience, and they have quality players. So I think it depends on what her desire is at the end of the day. So I don't think it would be up to United exactly. It would be up to her 100%. So if we do qualify, it might not be enough. She might say, look, I want to win. She might wake up and realize, you know what, I deserve to compete, not just to participate. So, and sometimes it happens when you're playing football. Even in an amateur level, you see this situation where one day you just enjoy playing, and then you wake up and say, you know what, I actually deserve better. I'm performing at a level where I should be challenging for a league, for a trophy, for the Champions League. And she will look at herself and say, you know what, I might deserve better in a way. I mean, talking selfishly as a player, because at the end of the day, players in general, men, women, they all think of themselves nowadays. It's more about their career than the club. They want to have their best career. You're not going to find many people like Alan Shearer who will sacrifice himself just to play with his boyhood club. You're not going to find that anymore, unfortunately. So it depends on what she wants. So it's going to be difficult. Hopefully we have something to offer her. So that would be, we tried situation, but it's going to be very interesting. All I hope is that if she stays, United have a good strategy and work hard to get something that fits the system. That's the most important thing. If you find someone that does fit the system, then you can progress. I really believe in having a philosophy, having something, a base, and just keep building. If something falls off, you can build on it again. I really believe in that, and hopefully they are prepared for such circumstances, not only with Ona, because we have some other players who might want to dream the same if we're not going to push. So we need to prepare in general for the whole squad. So yeah, that's what I think.
Sorry, Connor, I know you want to jump on very quickly, but I just want to very quickly add to that. We're 6 points behind Arsenal at the moment, just 5 behind Chelsea. We beat Chelsea and we win our last few games, we're only 2 behind them. So we're not far off. It is literally just how we perform against those top teams that matter. It's not the rest of the league as such. It's just those games against them, losing rather than drawing or picking up points there that stopped us being in the title race this year and not even having a question about whether we're in the top 3. So there's that. And to Mr. John Commode, it's not a case of not believing in the club, dear boy. I do. I just don't like the fact that City are probably going to do quite well. It's hard to say, but,
I thought, Barry, I know you're a positive guy, but I thought you were just about to say, oh, we're 5 off, we can go for a title race. I thought you were going to say that in this season.
Late title surge, guys, late title surge.
Look, geez, I mean, I'm positive, but crikey. Kirsty's actually led us, I'm liking this. I'm not having to do too much segues here, but Kirsty's led us nicely actually chat into something you wanted to discuss. So I'll let you kind of lead us into that one in terms of a sustainable plan and all things in between. So I'll let you lead on that one.
Yeah, so there's this massive talk of obviously the top three, the big three: Arsenal, City, and Chelsea. The ones that are institutionally, they've got loads of funding, they've got support from their clubs, and you know what? They've got good squads. Just being completely honest, they do have good squads, and they have the ability to do a lot of squad rotation, especially Chelsea. Now, we have been chronically fourth for the last since we've been in the WSL. I think that's kind of an honest way to put it. And we've been working into getting into those top league, like that top three position, both for Champions League, but also to kind of knock them off of their perch a little bit. I also think it's kind of honest to say that unfortunately, because of scrappy draws to Tottenham and Everton and West Ham throughout this season, if Manchester City hadn't had the terrible run of form that they had at the start of the season, you can just see purely from the losses, we probably wouldn't be in this position now, having this being able to have had this conversation kind of the whole way through the season. I'm not anti-United. I'm just kind of trying to put things in perspective a little bit. Although I very much enjoyed being this high up the table. Now, it's my kind of question and talking point a little bit is, how are we going to develop to slowly get into and break into that top three position, not just from a good run of form of results, but how are we going to take a step back and look at the club and think, you know what is the aim here? What are we kind of looking to do, and how are we going to develop to get to that point? Are we going to continue to be like the club? Like, obviously Lauren James came to us for 3 years and was incredible, and obviously it came when she was very young and then was sold back to her parent club. And then we have players like Ona Batlle, who came when she was very young and then obviously are potentially going to be going on to shinier things. I think that's a nice way of putting it when it comes to trophies. So are we going to be a player like how I said before to Connor in the message when I was speaking about this topic, like how Southampton United were about 5 years ago, when they were just absolutely churning out players that were getting in really young and then selling for like loads of money? Are we going to be that sort of person? Is that going to be our business model? Because let's be honest, our investment are going to have to come from interesting places. Because is it going to come from the board? We're not going to be talking about the Glazers here, but you kind of know how it is. What was it? I think pre-pandemic it was us and one other WSL side were the only two that actually made money in the season. And so our investment isn't going to come from above. How are we going to drive to grow to get that top three spot? Not are we going to make top three? It was, where are we going to be in top three? How are we going to be challenging for the top? How are we going to be looking to at least secure silverware during the season if it is in the WSL title itself? Sorry that was a bit long-winded, but I hope that kind of got what my kind of thought was.
We'll go around the house and just have a quick chat about this one then, Barry. So I'll come to you first. We'll try and do this conversation without mentioning the Glazers. Let's see if we can do that.
Because, sorry. I had to bring it up, but they're banned. They're banned. I couldn't work out a way of saying it with like outstarring their names out.
It is going to be difficult because we know what they're like. But we all know, just quickly, Barry, before you jump in, we all know obviously there was this 5-year plan when Casey obviously took the women's team. Obviously, initially there was this 5-year plan. Casey left. Obviously, what's happened to that plan? Is there a new plan now? Obviously, with Skinner, what's the process there? So, go on, Barry, take it away. What do United need to do then to become sustainable and don't become like Southampton men, as like Chess said, where they basically became Liverpool's youth academy at one point. They were just selling players constantly to them. How do we kind of avoid that and become a staple top three team?
Well, the first thing you do is not sell your best players to Barcelona, I suppose. would be a cracking start, boys. I don't know. Like I said, it's those games against the top sides. Those are the ones that get us, you know. You could argue also the stupid results against the littler sides. And yes, I include Spurs in that. So, you know, the Spurs, the Everton, that West Ham game, I think we were so deflated because we knew how vital dropping those 2 points were at that point. And it's that we just lack that killer instinct, really. But watching Tooney, she's a fantastic player, and yet she seems almost scared to shoot. I've just watched her score from 20 yards out. How's she doing that for England? For us, she's like, oh no, I'm going to pass that one across the 6-yard box and hope somebody else puts it in. I don't know exactly what it is that's lacking there, but there was something clearly that was missing in some of our games lately when it comes to having those sorts of shots. So I think it's just it's that confidence, and also the actual doing it. I think doing it once helps you. You know, the reason why Fergie kept so many players in the team all the time was because they had that experience. They knew what it was like to win a trophy. They knew what it was like to be involved in those run-ins. And currently we've won a championship, yeah, absolutely, but it was the championship. Liverpool just won it, and they got absolutely decimated when they were here a few years ago. So, you know, Leicester won it, and look how they've done this year. So it's hardly like, you know, you're saying they've won the championship, therefore they are ready to go. You look at the teams that have come up for the championship the last few years with a flag bearers, with a standard bearers on that, because we came up and then look, now we're fourth, and now we're fourth, and now we're fourth. We've pulled ourselves into that sort of position. So we are right on the edge. Let's be absolutely clear on that. We are right on the edge of it. It is not a huge leap and a huge jump, I don't think, but it is that mental block. Like, we're all sitting here now going, can we beat Chelsea? Can we beat Chelsea? Can we beat Chelsea? We've got to get over that. We've got to beat Chelsea. So that's the one. That's what they've got to do. And I've already said it once, positivity restored. We're going to do it. We are going to go to Chelsea. We're going to beat them. We're going to be able to sing that song about Martin Ho and Emma Hayes, and we're going to be able to mean it for once, and we're going to enjoy it, and it's going to be better than Boreham Wood, because we are going to beat them. And the question is going to be goal difference, and as we all know, City have got a long storied history of doing us over when it comes to goal difference, and that's my biggest worry at the moment. So do I think we can make it to third? Yes, we can. Can we get there? Yes, we can. But we need to keep some of these players that we've got, and we need to keep on having that good strategy when we're buying players as well. And you know, I do trust the likes of Skinner. Whether we trust the window cleaners above them, I don't know. But whether we, trust in Skinner, absolutely, 100%. I didn't say it. I didn't say it, Connor. Spoke about the window cleaners. That's all I said. That's the big one. That's the big one for me. Can we do it? We're going to need that money if we do sell it. It's as simple as that, because that's how we get there.
That threw me off. I'm sorry. Andrew, I was going to ask you something. I can't remember what I was going to ask you. That was it. Barry mentioned it there about the top three teams at the moment. They're used to winning things. And I'm going to bring it back to, like, I say this pretty much at every show now, but when we interviewed Willie Kirk on this channel, he said about Manchester United, talking about they need winners in this squad. You know, can Mark Skinner turn this squad into winners, or does he need to buy season winners into this squad to push us and make us a consistent top three? Do you trust? I'm not going to phrase that question, because we will get into that debate about, as Barry said, window cleaners. But do you kind of? I don't know where I'm going with this. It's very hard to talk about this without talking about the people at the top. But where do you think then, in terms of United pushing? Because it's, as Barry said, it's not that far. You know, the jump into the top three now. But once we're there, it's becoming sustainable and staying there. That potentially is going to be even harder.
Yeah, I was going to say, I agree with Barry's point. Like, that killer instinct and making the players truly believe. Like, I think back to that Arsenal away game where we was 1-0 up, and like, thought we're going to hang on here and get the win. And then Arsenal's quality showed through, and they scored that goal. And it's like where we've dropped points this season. It's like, and I just think the last game at home to Brighton, I thought we had to work hard to break them down. And when we went 1-0 up, Brighton thought, oh, we're going to attack you now and try and put pressure on you in that last 10 minutes. I thought, are we going to get sucker punched again? And I think there was literally a corner near the end of full time. I thought, my heart was in my chest thinking, please do not concede from here. And I just thought, like the West Ham game, we all just felt, luckily we saw it, and I saw it out. And I think we needed one of those games like that where we can win 1-0. And it's like, other teams we've beaten in the WS, below us, we've beaten like 3-4, 5-0. And it's like, it's when we come up against the top three where we've really had struggled. Maybe I'm just thinking like the Conti Cup game against Arsenal need to like ground out those 1-0s. We don't have to be trying to maybe score 3, 4 or 5, just like those 1-0s and get that confidence in them. But I just think going forward, there's a few key areas that United need to, with the women's side. I think this, was it director or head of women's football, whatever, that story seems to have gone quiet at the minute. And like, I know John Murtough from the men's side, he's been doing stuff from the women's, but I know they're looking to appoint somebody for the women's side, and like what's happening with that? It seems to have no names have been mentioned, so I don't know whether that's something at the end of the season. But also investment in the squad. I think you're going to have to get some of those players with experience and obviously with trophies, but also we've got a great development squad. They've just won the cup as well, and some of those could maybe able to step up as well. So that experience and youth, like United men's side, have been built on as well. So winning trophies, and also investment, in the training, facilities as well. I know the issue with Casey was the training facilities and what all happened with that, and now they're now at Carrington, and the owners are now looking to like upgrade Carrington, so it's all together, the women's, the youth, and the men's as well. So it's just there's a few key areas that need to be looked at in the summer as well. So it's going to be, I think, a big season. Well, a big summer all round for United across the whole board for them. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. Ellie, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think the gap is, because some people say it's big, it's a big jump to the top three. Some people say it's quite close. Where do you stand on this, and how do we stay there in terms of creating a model that we keep players like Ona, like we were discussing earlier? You are on mute as well, by the way.
I think we're quite close, because right now, like we're in third now, just City under us, and that's for me. It's goal difference. So, it's just been these scrappy like draws and losses that we should have really won. So I think we're close. We're close, but it's all about goal difference, I think, now. That's my only worry about City. City can just fly up there. And we just can't lose on, like, she's a good player for us, so it's going to be such a loss.
You said such a loss, like you're expecting her to go now.
That's what I mean. I just don't know, because we need that Champions League. I have said to you are manifesting it, but City can literally just bounce back, because they've got such easy, like, 2 easy games. We've not got that. No way have we got that now. We got Chelsea, and I actually do. Like Barry said, he thinks we're gonna win that, and I really hope we do. Not like that home game. Was it 5-0 or something? That home game, 5-1 or something. I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I just don't want. Yeah, I just don't want another mistake like that. And I want to be singing that song about Emma raising everyone. So we need to win that game. We do.
Yeah, 100%. Kirsty, I'll let you have the. You're going to say on this, then Chess, I'll let you have the last word on your topic there.
You're not going to steal my thoughts this time.
Not this time. You get to do it now. You get to do it.
Cheers. Yeah, it's a tricky situation for United. We've been in a situation last year where we lost many players, and then we got a decent amount of good players, but we lost as well some players. So can we afford to do this every year? Because it's not sustainable in terms of to fight with the top three. And then if you're going to end up marginally in the top three, how are you going to compete with those in Europe? Because I managed to fit in the top three for the next 3 seasons, and then I go in Europe and I get smashed. It's not good, for the club. It's not good for the team, not just for the fans or for people in general. It's even for the players mentally, because I know what it feels like getting smashed week in, week out on an amateur level, and it's not fun. And when I'm telling you smashed, 10 plus goals, it's not fun. It's not fun. And I'm with a team that's constantly riddled with injuries. So if this team is going to be slim, is going to be inexperienced, might get advantage from other teams having injuries, and like we had this season with City, go to the Champions League and then just get humiliated, it's not good, because it's only good for the short term and it won't be good for the long term, because people will leave, they won't enjoy it. Obviously, for me on an amateur level, I can kind of deal with it because nobody's watching me. But on a professional level, where if you're going to go to the new camp and have 90,000 people watching you get smashed, is obviously going to be an issue in terms of development. So they have to think about, look, we can't afford to lose players, but sometimes the odd one player will go. It happens to every team, or it happens in teams, not just in women's football, but also in men's football. But it's about getting experience and mixing it with youth. I think that's very important, that if we are going to build on this team, we can't just focus youth. I think you need someone who is experienced, who can take care of the dressing room, take care of situations on and off the pitch. That can help, the young players, who are hungry, who are performing for us. But sometimes when it comes to these big games, you need someone to look up to and say, look, I need your experience. I need, help. I mean, I got help when I was in an amateur level, let alone, in a professional level, where you have someone who's been through it all, experienced it, had the emotions. Hopefully we could get someone who knows how to win a trophy as well, because that helps. And feed off to the youngsters, because you can have a very good academy, you can have the best academy at the end of the day, but I really believe that having some, not obviously the majority, but you need some players really know how to keep things level, even to have good communication with the coaches, to have good communications not just with the coaches but everywhere. And you need someone who can keep, the ship, keeps the ship moving, because storms will come, but it's important that the ship is strong enough to withstand such storms. And sometimes it's an issue that if we're going to let this be, this thing occur, that we let players go, we're going to be very fragile. And I don't want United to be in a situation where they might luckily get to Champions League, or manage to get in the Champions League, and then just get humiliated, or then get humiliated locally, because getting humiliated 6-0 against Chelsea, if I'm not mistaken, is not nice, especially at home. I'm not saying that away is good, but it's not good for development. I mean, losing is losing, but then there's losing badly is obviously damage limitation. So I think that's important to prevent such scenarios, believing that we're up there and then we be naive and then we go down. I think Liverpool had that situation, if I'm not mistaken, where they were winning titles and then they just slipped off in the women's game. So we don't want to go back to the Championship or whatever, because if we're going to be naive that we're good enough, for Champions League, and then we just start letting things leave, we might end up in that situation, and we can't afford to do that, because once you end up in such a situation, to crawl back up is going to be even harder. So I think the strategy with United has to be fine, get a system, get the best players for a system, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm not a pro, but I think, and then get someone who can lead the team, get a couple of leaders. Like, we already have a few, but I think we need something a bit more solid, I think, because we are on the right track. I don't think we are on the, doing badly, but I think we need more to compete locally. We need to start with that. You need to get the wins against Chelsea. You need to get the wins against City and Arsenal. And it's not just a one-off game. You need to start showing these guys, look, we're here to give you a hard time. We're here to take over. We're not here to participate. We're here to take over, take your place, go in Europe, get the experience in Europe, and have this good team. Feed them with the European experience, and then compete in Europe. But that doesn't happen without having experienced players. Definitely, we can't just rely on academy. So that's what I think on the situation.
Yeah, just to kind of follow on to what you said, because there were some really amazing points in there, Kirsty. You spoke about experience, getting a good balance with experience and youth. Now, obviously, we're not naturally going to have experience, because the team has only been around for since it's coming up to 4 years now. It'll be 4 years in May, which is tiny amount of time if you actually like think about it. And when the squad started, I think we had people like Siobhan Chamberlain, who obviously aged out and now works for the club in the wider sense. And we had Alex Greenwood as well, who obviously played with us in our first season. Yeah, I know that I was waiting for that, the shaking of the head. Boo, don't say her name. No, but to be fair, like I think she came down a league to play with us for a year, so like I take it, and then went off to Lyon to win the Champions League. Who would want to go to Lyon to win the Champions League? I would if I was a footballer. Honor, don't listen to this. Anyway, but I think it's holistic. I think if we're looking to break into the top 3 in quite a legitimate way and put our proper stamp on it, it is about getting that within the team. It is about getting that good balance between youth, which I think our youth development system is brilliant. I think our youth scouting is also very good, and I think I'm more impressed with our youth scouting from elsewhere. Players like Russo, and then also like Ona, who obviously we've been speaking about today. And I think we're also a bit lucky in the sense that we have the draw of being Manchester United. A lot of the people who play for us are fans of the club. Think of people like Diane Caldwell. You saw her in the video. She welled up. She was on the brink of tears, and it's absolutely beautiful to see that we have people who want to play for our club. And also sometimes if it's your boyhood club, you might want to play for them, even if they're working towards getting in the top leagues instead of physically being there yet. Now, as I was saying before, I think it's very holistic. There should be an increase in investment, but whether that comes from an increase in profile of the club, we've seen now recently that we've been promoted on the men's accounts, which is good. They've got the change the game thing, which was excellent. The game at Old Trafford, which was very successful. I went, it was brilliant. But they're all 8-0, lovely. But like we saw that didn't translate directly to then attendance at the next fixture. And Connor, we were speaking before the game started, and I said, well, maybe it's because the Lee Sports Village isn't very easy to get to, and maybe to increase. Yeah, exactly. As I said before, I had to take 2 trains and a bus and then walk through a field for 15 minutes. Will I be doing that every week?
I'm going to cut you a bit. I obviously don't know Manchester, and we almost missed the bus. I have a bad injury at the moment. Like I went to Manchester limping, and when my boyfriend told me, look, we need to run, I was like, oh no, to reach the bus. And it's like every 35, but obviously we had a bit situation because on that day there was a marathon in Manchester and lots of roads were closed. And I was, oh my god, I have to go to India, I'm not gonna manage. But no, I totally understand what you mean when you say that.
And so building investment through ticket sales on the door isn't going to happen when you don't have the ability to go to the game very easily and it's still gate kept and all that sort of stuff. And so I think it's looking at holistic improvement of the club will help us get to that levels, because I think we are close. It's just the end bit, kind of improving the overall prowess of our squad. And I love our squad at the moment, but having the squad having a level of squad rotation where we can legitimately rely on our backups and not really have a weakest link. I'm not saying that we necessarily do at the moment, but our squad I think it's fair to say that our squad aren't all on the same level. And so getting up to that point when we do have things that happen in the season where people get injured, like that would be something that helps as well, or just gets into a way where we can reinvigorate the squad by switching things around. Top 3 teams and teams in Europe who are competing for their top positions have the ability to do that, and I think that's kind of what we're working towards. But yeah,
100%. I think. Oh, go on, Barry.
I was just going to throw my positivity point. Even if we don't get third, guys, don't panic. Don't panic, because everybody panicked when Stoney went, didn't they? They went, oh gosh, we've lost Casey Stoney. Who's coming in? Oh gosh, it's Mark Skinner. Who's this geezer? Turner leaves, Press leaves, Heath leaves. Let's go down the typical Man United route. Oh, woe is me. It's the end of the world. And look, we're still exactly where we are, asking the same questions. So it's not that bad, everyone. It's not that deep. Chill out. Even if we don't make it, we'll all be there next year.
You know what? That's actually what I love the most about this club, because it isn't that deep. If we know, because obviously we all care so much, but we also know the club's quite young and we know what we can achieve, but also we're not unrealistic. And so I think I'd be so stressed. I'd be so stressed if I was an Arsenal fan, thinking if we don't win a trophy this season, Miedemar's going to leave. And they're looking at it right now and it's probably not going to happen. Like, could you imagine? I'd hate that. That'd be horrible. But that's why I like being a Manchester United fan for many reasons, but that is also one of them.
So if John, if you're watching this back, which I know you will do, clip that up, get that tweeted out. It's not that deep from Barry and Chess right there.
That'll be after me now.
I've got nothing else to add on that. To be fair, I think the only thing I will actually add in terms of moving forward, I think as a club looking into pushing into the top three, I think the Old Trafford redevelopment also being spoken about could play a big part in this, because as has been discussed, if they move that, if they move the women's team playing, we were speaking beforehand about what Man City have got and how jealous we are of the campus that they've built over at the Etihad. If Man United had something like that, I think that would be ideal. That kind of actually leads me on a little bit onto Kirsty and something you wanted to talk about in terms of your experiences, obviously going to Manchester weekend just gone, in Old Trafford and Leeds. So do you want to lead us into that conversation?
Yeah, so I know a friend who has a season ticket, and to get tickets and what, that's a nightmare. You obviously have to be a member online to try and apply for men's tickets. And I know a friend who has a season ticket, and he had 2 season tickets, and they were next to each other. So, and I had already knew that in July I was going to go for the first time to watch Man United. So that was fantastic against Leicester. So, and I'm always checking: are the women going to play? Are the women, with the fixtures? First, yes, they were going to play Brighton on that Sunday, and then they weren't going to play on that weekend. And then 2 weeks before I was going to go, it was there. So it's like, fantastic, I'm going to go, definitely. It's on a Sunday, so 2 matches in a weekend. That's great. That's a fantastic holiday for me. So yeah, first of all, Old Trafford obviously is a fantastic ground, has its nice history. I've been to various grounds. I've been to the Camp Nou and the Allianz Arena of Bayern, and they're very different grounds. So even the way they talk about their history, United talk about a lot of how they built their history to the players. So I understand why Manchester United fans never are worried about getting players, because it's been like that for years, and I'm sure the women will do something very similar with that. For example, Bayern, you see many trophies, so it's the culture is different, and I love the United culture because of the way we talk about how we got there, not just we got there, it's just how. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Obviously, the game was a draw. Didn't manage to see Ronaldo either. He got sick when I was there. A bit unlucky, but I saw a goal, so I'm not going to complain a lot. With that, we didn't lose, so at least I'm not going to complain a lot with that. But then when it came to the women's game, I got the full package. I got to see a win. I managed to arrive on time thanks to transport. So there's only thing in Manchester I complain about is the transport, but the people are fantastic. So yeah, I managed to watch the game. I had a friend from Manchester. He came with us, and he's been telling me, yeah, now after the game, go get these signatures. They're amazing. I'm like, yeah, cool. So the game, they won. So that was good. You saw a goal. We got to celebrate a win, 3 points. And after, the players were so humble to take to sign our shirts, our programs, to take photos. They even told me, you came all the way from Malta. He's like, yeah, 3-hour flight. Fantastic experience. I mean, if people are in Manchester, they have to go watch the women's, because the passion on the pitch is just fantastic. The atmosphere was like a nice Sunday out, adventure kind of. I really enjoyed it. It's a different experience to the men's, but it's still as enjoyable. It's still as fun. And if I had the opportunity to go, I'll obviously snatch it from anyone's hands if I can. But yeah, they're very nice, very humble. They're so sweet, these ladies, and I really wish them all the best, because they look like they work hard. You see them even in their faces, like, oh, we managed to win, we got this. So they boosted me. So I was like, I can help you. You get this kind of thing, like you really get this connection with them, which is really fantastic. And I really wish them the best. I really hope, I really want them to get this Champions League adventure, because they've worked hard. We talk about the points, how much they missed and how much maybe we're off. But you cannot deny that these ladies have worked so hard to get here, and it's not like they got here with luck, because I don't think this is far from luck. They work hard. They're very dedicated to the team and also to the club. They enjoy playing for the club, and if we keep this, I think we can see success in the future. So hopefully we can keep this type of characters in the team, because they're so sweet. I say this like so many times, but I wasn't expecting it. So I'm not I'm expecting arrogance, but I wasn't expecting them to be so open and yeah, I wasn't going to imagine that they were going to come and sign our shirt. I didn't know that was possible. So when I had the opportunity, I snatched it, managed to talk to some of them, small chats. But yeah, I wish them the best. Hopefully, if they manage to see this, so thank you. Yeah, I recommend. Like I told a friend who watches United, the men's not how you should go. You have to go watch the women. You have to. I mean, she plays football here with me in the amateur leagues. But if you love women's football, you have to. You support United. You have to watch these girls, because they play with passion. They play with love for the club. And I know people say, "Oh, passion." It's so important in football to play with your heart, because when you play with your head and with your heart, it will lead you somewhere. You have to have talent and technique and obviously knowledge about the game, but when you're driven, and it's not just with football, it's literally with anything, when you're driven, you always go to the next level. So I hope that these ladies, I believe they will. Let me put it like that. So that was my experience. They made my holiday, definitely. I'm still looking through my photos and like one day I'll see you again. But yeah, it's difficult, but I'll always try my best to see these women, because they're fantastic. So yeah, I recommend, definitely, 100%, 10 out of 10.
100%.
John, when you're watching back, forget this cutting me, forget this clip of me. I just want the next 4 minutes of what Kirsty just said there, and that needs to go far and wide, because that is what it's all about, isn't it? That is what it's all about.
The connection. You need the connection with the fans and the players, and things just fall into place. I really believe that. I really, really believe that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I actually don't know what else to add. Unless anyone else has, Andrew, I will just quickly ask you one question off the back of what Kirsty said there, because obviously you're a season ticket holder at Old Trafford, and obviously with the women's team. Just off the back of what Kirsty said there, kind of small little differences, but ultimately it's still United. But with the women's team, you do get that kind of closer connection. As anyone who's been will know that. But just if you had anything to add off the back of that.
I was going to say, well, with the women's side, it's like more accessible. Like the players will come out and greet you and talk to you. As the men's side, they'll come out after the game, sign autographs, and then they're all back on the coach back to Carrington. But I say with the women's side, I've definitely this season at points enjoyed watching the women more than the men's side. I mean, I was at the Leicester game as well, and that game was just so flat, and from the players and the fans too. And I was like, the 1-1 draw was like the women's team came through and lifted my spirits on the Sunday with a 1-0 win. So yeah, I just think, say with the women's side, I've been following the women's side from when they was launched, and obviously was keeping an eye on the result, and then they won the championship, and then the players had the parade came onto the pitch at Old Trafford, and then obviously kept an interest when they're in the WSL. It was only this season, so meeting Connor at Stourbridge, and then said, "Oh, come to the United away game at Birmingham," and then went and watched and I thought I've got to watch again. So then got a season ticket, and so my first game was the Manchester derby, the 2-2 draw. So I was like really impressed with the women's side, and I'm hoping we're going to be celebrating at the end of the season, getting Champions League, and maybe possibly denying Chelsea a title as well. So I'm sure Skinner sort of said, "Oh, I'll be jumping in with you guys, celebrating as well." So it would be good to see that happen as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I've just seen. I don't know if anyone has noticed that Football Crazy in the comments is Barry. That is that side of me, keeping us well up to date with what England are doing. I can't believe Zellam's getting more than a usual kind of couple of minutes at the end. That is brilliant to see, actually, from a United point of view, because she's always in and around the squad, but never seems to get minutes. So that is positive. we've still got a consistent number of people watching this. Fair play to everyone who's stuck with us for nearly 90 minutes now, and to the panelists as well for sticking with us so long. Barry,
Full game. We didn't even get a break for halftime oranges. That's quite impressive.
I know, disgraceful.
Who forgot to bring the segments? It's a bit rude, to be honest. I thought I was going to get one closer to my door as we were coming in, but whatever. Anyway, sorry, Connor. Carry on.
I'll get on the phone to John on the All for United expense account, and we'll get that sorted for next time. We've essentially done an unofficial watch along by the time we finish this. But go on, Barry. Lead us into the final kind of talking point before we look to wrap it up.
Well, I think it's an easy one, really. We can leave the league conversation, I think, for another day. But with it being the international window, really, I just wanted to sort of question really where the women's game is in relation to the men's game with that as well. There's been so much going on about the types of teams that are playing in the international matches. For example, the fact we're smashing North Macedonia. Zelen probably could have played instead of Hannah Hampton, to be honest, today, and it still would have been 8-0 if I'm brutally honest, because I don't really think they did too much. But it's just really that, and also the timing. I think the timing is what really got me. I think it's disgraceful, actually, this close when you've got Arsenal and Chelsea battling it out, Man United and Man City battling it out. Bearing in mind that all the discussion from yesterday is that all of the top players come mainly from those particular teams, I think it's absolutely crazy. If one of those players gets injured in the next 2 games, and it's going to be a big one, thankfully, hardly any of the Man United players are playing, so hopefully it won't affect us quite so much. But that would be atrocious, really, wouldn't it? So it's just sort of throwing that international question out there. Is it worthwhile? Do we think there needs to be a sort of a change in how these internationals are set up and how the tournaments are set up? And because I actually think it's quite nice for North Macedonia that they get the chance to come along and get thoroughly trounced against players of our quality. Because how else do you learn? San Marino have been playing men's football for eons, and I can still remember the day they drew a match. It was like, I was so proud. So, these things will happen. But yeah, so is it worth having them? Do we need to change the tournament structure? And what are we going to do if someone gets injured? Like Ona Batlle, for example. Could you imagine?
Oh, I'll be on one of my Twitter rants again about international breaks. As I said at the start, I'm not a fan of international breaks. So I'm not a fan of international football, full stop. So I'll come back to myself. But I will let everyone have their selves. But I want to come to you, Kirsty, because it's something you mentioned in terms of your own playing career and being on a losing or a heavily losing side. And Barry just said there that this is a good thing for North Macedonia. I actually disagree, and I don't think it is, because I don't think they'll learn too much being, obviously, like I said, you'll be able to give a better insight on this. Do you learn a lot? If, like, say, for example, this England game is probably going to finish 10-0. Do you learn anything as the losing side from
that? When it comes to losing that type of margin, you need to see why you're losing. So if it's quality, you learn. So if I'm going to check North Macedonia's results. They've lost a lot. I've had a couple of heavy defeats. I think they've had a win. So losing week in, not week in, week out, but losing constantly heavily is not going to help at the end of the day in the long run. Having a one-off heavy defeat, but you're playing against one of the best teams, it helps. It helps you learn. You experience. Look, this is how someone much better than me, thinks, much moves, everything, shoots, passes. You learn. You do learn something. But if it's going to be constant, you're always going to be in these massive. I mean, Malta. Malta lost 2-0 to Denmark today, and they got smashed last time. I don't know what team Denmark had, but we still lost. Did maybe our national team learn something? It could. Okay, it's 9-0. But yeah, look, sometimes big defeats you learn. I think if it's always constant, all the time you're getting smashed. Every game you play, you're getting smashed. And then it gets annoying. It doesn't get good. There's something wrong, obviously. It won't be just a quality situation. Sometimes when you get smashed, it's about commitment, it's about discipline, it's about how you're preparing for these matches, because I do understand that quality, it shows. And if you get the odd 8-0 here and there, fine, it happens. But if you're going to get smashed every time, I think you shouldn't blame the better team. You need to see what the smaller team is doing. Are they committed? So should we change the structure because maybe smaller nations or football clubs, they don't have the same commitment? For example, in my situation, I know we have a big issue with commitment. Should they, I don't know, change something in the league because 2 teams in the league don't have the same amount of commitment? So it's a very tricky situation, unfortunately. You can't, it's not black and white, it's different shades of gray. But I mean, I take from my national team. My national team has been beaten badly, but not constantly. And they do learn. There were things that they've learned from, but there are things that the Maltese national team have a problem with. And I'm going to be very bold, but there's a bit of corruption as well. So when you look at everything, shared national corruption or national stuff happen, and you just make it easier for them just because they're not doing stuff, maybe more professionally. And these things that you wouldn't know maybe because you look at England and maybe they're more structured well for football. But if you look at us, I mean, our in our footballing world in this little island, we focus, women's funds usually go to the men's, and the women's team does better than the men sometimes. We've got a better maybe win rate than them in terms, so and they choose, and when it comes to choosing players, they always choose the players from the top teams. They don't choose that one-off player who's playing maybe at a lower team, getting smashed 8-0, but is performing really well. And that's the type of issue. So should you change a system for nations that don't do stuff properly? I don't think that's fair for nations who do stuff properly. So yeah, we're looking at the result. Oh, poor players are getting smashed 8-0. But what's really going on behind the scenes? And I think many people don't know what's going on. I've experienced it firsthand. I've been in the national team. I've been checked out of the national team because of who I've played for. It's not a nice experience, and I was 16 at the time. So when you see these situations, it's much more. It's not just about talent, unfortunately, because there are talented Maltese. I could mention them. 5 players who are abroad and aren't playing in Malta, and they deserve better. They're very good players, and some of them, if they wanted to go on a professional scale, they could do it in the WSL, I think so. If they got the proper training and the proper, nurturing of the football world, let's put it that way. So it's not about talent. I think it's about, obviously, facilities. We don't have, the money England have when it comes to football. Obviously, our league is amateur at the end of the day. So I don't expect our national team to do well in terms of feature in a World Cup or in a European Championship. However, I expect us to win games against teams that maybe are a bit better than us or are our level. So yeah, you can't really change the whole system just for these teams. I don't think it's fair for teams who are actually serious about their football. So rent over.
I know, Chess, you want to jump in, but can we have a permission to kick Barry here? Because these puns are getting unbelievable here. So he went with this one, so I thought I'd reply. And he's then put that. And now, I'm sorry, Barry, that is a sackable offence.
Sackable offence.
See you later.
I was about to say, you need to come in with another one for the Tooney hat-trick, which we've just seen. Totally. And I thought Zellum had scored for a minute, then I got very excited, but no, it's just the third Toon goal.
Oh my god, it's 10.
Yeah, exactly.
we surely can't play these again. These again.
See, I think this is going on to a point that I really wanted to make. Now, I would like to say this before we go into it and before Connor kicks me out. I'm not advocating for more international breaks. This is what I'm saying. But hear me out here. No, hear me out. Hear me out a second. World Cup qualifiers need to happen, whether they happen or not. I think them happening in the way that they do at the moment, yes, they produce results like this one. Yes, they produced a 20-0 Latvia. I was there. I dragged all my housemates there. They absolutely loved it because all the goals happened at our end. Anyway, it was a laugh, but it wasn't brilliant football. But they need to happen because World Cup qualification should be fair. I don't think I think something like a Nations League could be implemented and potentially should be implemented, but I don't think that should come in front of World Cup qualification, because ultimately World Cup qualification needs to be fair. Because you know what, we might have a random result where a team like Malta has a couple of amazing players and then ends up going on a brilliant run, and the run of fixtures goes their way and they end up qualifying for the World Cup. I know you can look at me like that, but like it's unlikely, but it might happen. It just so happens that in women's football instead of men's football, although there's gaps between all teams are going to be ranked higher than the other. It just so happens that the gaps are more evident, because that's the way the women's game is. There hasn't been the same level of investment, so of course you're going to have those things. But I think what is productive is like the February international break. I think the tournaments like the Arnold Clark Cup, like the Cup de France, like the Pinatar Cup, that were happening all across, and to an extent like the She Believes, but I know it's just a bit of a vanity fest for the American national team. But I think that tournaments like that happening all across Europe and all across the world during that international break are really positive, because you get teams who are all kind of on the same level or slightly further apart in their FIFA rankings, but can all actually compete against each other because they're all vaguely at the same sort of level. And you're getting international football. So I think for raising profile of games, I think we should take a step back and stop focusing on these 20-0 wins, these 10-0 wins. Because if I'm being completely honest, I've had the game on for the second half. England's finishing have been absolutely rubbish. And when they played North Macedonia back in September, their finishing was also rubbish then. There was the famous clip of Leah Williamson said at the end of the game where she was like, I think Serena's going to have us in shooting practice tomorrow. Because although they won 8-0, 2 of those goals were actually own goals. And so they only got 6 goals in the back of the net, 2 of which came during injury time at the end of the fixture. And so I think even for teams who are the better team in the matchup, they still have things to learn from these fixtures. Because if you're not able to put chances away against teams like North Macedonia, then when you play Germany, when you play Spain, and you get 1 or 2 of these chances, you need to be clinical. And if you don't have that level of clinical finishing during an international fixture against North Macedonia, you're not going to be able to compete in those higher leagues. So I think really just kind of increasing the profile of international tournaments like the Arnold Clark Cup, like the Pinatar Cup, like the other ones that were happening across Europe and the world would be a really positive way of kind of destigmatizing this sort of level of international football of what we're seeing at the moment. But I don't think we should and can really change World Cup qualification, because I don't think it would be fair to.
And just off the back of that, 15 shots, I've just had a look at the stats, 15 shots on targets for England, 10 scored, but 34 shots in total. Macedonia won, not on target. So there is a difference. Of course there is. But I'd also point out that, when it's the magic of the cup, when you get, I don't know, Stourbridge facing Manchester United, nobody's sitting there going, oh, no, that's not going to be fair, is it? It's all the magic of the cup. The minute it's North Macedonia against England, oh, my goodness, no. Come on.
Yeah, definitely. I'll come to Ellie and Andrew then to have your kind of thoughts on internationals. Ellie, I'll come to you first. But where do you stand on this thing? Because the one point that Barry really made that really kind of stuck out to me, why now? We're 3 games out from the end of the season. We've got title race, we've got a top 3. Do we really need these? I know they need to happen because they're qualifiers, they need to happen, but do we really need this now, like with 3 games to go?
No, we really don't, because it's tension. Like, if our players get injured now, we've had it. We really had it, especially if it was Tuna, if Russo, Zelen, and Maria. If they got injured now, we've had it. And I know today, Tina Brun put on saying she won't be. The 2 games they've got, she won't be playing them. But I think that's because she had a knock in the last previous game we had. See, for me, they are pointless, these games, because Look, like I just said, if we get injured players, we've had it with 3 games to go as well. And look, we've already got loads of players out. We've got Diane out, we've got Millie out, got Mannion out. We really can't afford any more to come out. Ona, we can't afford all of them to come out.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't happen now, I don't think. Not with 3 games to go. Really shouldn't.
Maybe we should just always keep Leah Galton because we know that she's not gonna go off. I think
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I think she's probably the only player that I've heard of, and it's for completely legitimate reasons. And I think it's also incredibly mature to be able to take a step back and go, you know what, for my own health and for my mental health, I don't want to play international football. I think saying no to your national team, because a lot of people grow up thinking, oh my god, I want to play for England one day. I want to represent my country one day. That's kind of the main thing they do. But Ellie, can I turn around and point it back to you? So if we're going to need to have World Cup qualifiers, we're going to need to have World Cup qualifiers. If they weren't at this time, when would you play them?
So that's for me. I really don't know, but I just not at this stage, please. No, it gives us so much tension if our players get injured. Maybe I thought maybe in the middle of the year, maybe in the middle of the season, but no, it has to be 3 games before really happen. So I actually don't know when.
I'm interested to see the split here because I'm with Ellie. I don't think they shouldn't be happening for me 3 games from the end of the season. We have a massive 4-week gap, rightfully so, obviously over Christmas for the winter break. Could they not be slotted in there? And I think this is I'm not going to open up a whole debate because we could be here for hours talking about this otherwise. But Andrew, I'll come to you because obviously you've not had your say on this just yet. Where do you stand on this? And then also Chess's question there. Like, if it's a valid question, if not now, when are they going to fit them in?
So it's a good question. I think like with the Met, like equivalent of men's and their international breaks, like get World Cup qualifiers or Euro qualifiers, they've got to be played. It's just when there's like friendlies and then there's nothing riding on it. It's like I'll probably more get into like with the England side more when it's tournament football. So like the Euros this summer, the Women's Euros, I'll be looking with interest in that, like seeing how our United players are getting on, but also looking at potential other players that might be coming to United that Skinner might have his eye on. So it's a question of when do we... I don't know whether they could sort of align it, with like the men's international, because we do was it September? Was it November? Then like the last one was just the last 2 weeks of March, wasn't it? So I just think having it now, it sort of disrupts not only United's form, but all the WSL teams' form as well. But on another advantage, those teams like us as well, players that are injured at the moment, it gives them a chance to, get back fit. And then we've got those last 3 or 4 games, we've got those players back, which could be crucial for some teams like us as well. But it's a good question. Where do we play them? It's just like, I think that's for the those that are involved in the game. So with I know they're looking at the WSL expanding as well. It's like, well, it's like, say, if there's more games in that, this is the question that's got to be asked. Well, more games are going to be played in that. Where do the international breaks go as well? And obviously, at the moment, this one's going to be 3 weeks. So is it going to be go more like the men's, where it's just like a 2-week break? So I don't know.
And also, I guess at least we have international break in the league, because if you look at the NWSL, they just don't take the time off. So you lose the players, and if the players are gone, then the players are gone, and that's kind of that is what it is. And so we talk about expansion of the WSL is a whole other kettle of fish, I think. But exactly, it's just if not now, then when?
But I just think there's so many breaks, isn't there, in the WSL? It feels like there's almost like naturally, it's like with the FA Cup. They go, the FA Cup is this weekend, so there's not going to be any matches played whatsoever. And I just find it a little bit crazy. Like you say, the men's one was March. I'm just looking at the last England women's game. We played April. Obviously, we're playing now. Then before that, it was November. So there's a massive gap there where we could have thrown something in February. And I suppose whenever you play it, there's a chance of injuries. We mentioned about City having their problems earlier on in the season. But I just think internationals need to mean something. And I can understand why you want friendlies before a tournament so you can play against better sides, or onto a better term. You're not really, as England aren't learning much out of smashing North Macedonia 10-0, other than the fact that they're superior. So they need to be playing against the likes of Spain, against America, Canada, some of those sorts of games.
Well, they did in February. That's the Arnold Clark Cup, yeah.
Oh yes, that one they did do. Yes,
yeah, which was probably the most important thing in the run up to the Euros as well, and that was used in the February break.
But then I would swap them. I would have the friendlies, because that's what that Arnold Clark is really. It's a friendly. Smash that in at the end of the season to use that as your warm up. It still means something. Whack these games into February. I just think the people that are running the women's game, I'm not sure they've got any common sense, and I think they need to have a little think, just have a sit down, put their feet up, and let some other people who know what they're talking about get involved.
Is that you throwing your hat in the ring, Barry? Are you?
No, not me. No, I don't know what I'm talking about, Connor. I'm still amazed you let me on.
I think this is definitely. I think you're talking about expansion of leagues as well. I think, John, again, if you're watching, I'm putting a show idea for next week. Same panelists. We'll have another conversation about expansion of the WSL, because that is a whole topic in itself. I'm going to have to look to wrap this up, because otherwise, John, I do promise. There was a show yesterday that was an hour and 40 minutes, and we said, "Oh, that's a long show for us," and we've eclipsed that tonight. So we've done one better. But I just want to end it up with a bit of positivity, obviously from yourself, Chess, talking about the new camp and obviously the game, Barcelona, record attendance. Obviously, there was so many watched online as well. Obviously, you were there. So I just want to get what your thoughts were and what that was like as an experience.
Yeah, it was awesome. I didn't plan to go. I got offered tickets. I got offered 2 tickets about a week before. And I thought, you know what? I know that I'm going to regret this if I don't. Luckily, it was my uni's Easter break, so I did a bit of procrastination and headed off to Spain, which was fantastic. The atmosphere at the new camp is unlike anything I've ever experienced before in my life. Completely at any other game. Before we went into the stadium, as the buses came in, obviously you know it very well. They come into Lee Sports Village. You wave at people coming off the vans, but there were thousands and thousands of people there. They were lighting flares. They were waving flags. They were singing the Barcelona anthem. People were outside around the kind of like box park area drinking. They were with friends. You walk into the stadium and the new camp, if you've been, is absolutely vast, and I thought, oh, this is going to be really, to be fair, it actually filled up quite slowly. So like about 5 minutes before the fixture, it did look quite empty, and I was very worried, because I was thinking, oh god, this is going to be really embarrassing if this doesn't fill out as much as it's expected to. But as soon as the players walked out onto that pitch, it's like all of the people looked like ants coming down to their seats, and the way that they sang the Barcelona anthem was just absolute. It was completely unmatched. I was sat next to a woman in about her 30s and her mother, and her mum spoke no English whatsoever. She was in her 60s, and she gave her one of her Barcelona flags when she realised that I travelled from England for the fixture. She thought it was absolutely amazing, and then for the entire game, the whole stadium just screamed and shouted and swore at the ref and sang the Barcelona anthem. And the thing that really got me, and I spoke about this on the Women's Football Podcast, but was when the Alexia Putellas goal went in, they screamed for her. They screamed her name over and over and over again. Now, I was at the Old Trafford game, and obviously the Barmy Army are fantastic, and they sing all the songs of the players and all that sort of stuff. But hearing 90,000 people screaming the name of any footballer, but a female footballer, I got really emotional, because you talk about low attendances, you talk about people not interested in the game, but I felt that people cared, and I'm sure the 91,552 other people who were there also felt that level of care. And I just want to add as well, it wasn't just families who were there. packing out the stadiums, that every single person was there was a fan of Barcelona. There were a couple of Real Madrid fans, but I probably only saw 2 shirts the whole time I was there. But they knew the players' names and they screamed for them as they came out, and it was a wonderful insight into what the game can be. And I'm just really excited for the Euros. I'm really excited for the bigger. I'm really excited for the WSL post Euros, because I'm hoping that it will have the same growth of the game that the World Cup gave the WSL before it got tanked by COVID. Like I'm just really excited for that, because if we can get an atmosphere like that in the UK, it would be absolutely unmatched.
Yeah, 100%. Fantastic to hear that, to be fair, because like I said, I've spoke to people that obviously are watching online. Obviously, I think, Andrew, we might have been actually at Stourbridge at the time watching our local side, Tier 5 in the women's pyramid. So slightly different for us with about 50 people there. But I think we won, was it 10-0? Something like that? Again, another big score line in that one.
Yeah, sure it was.
So that was all good. I'm going to have to wrap it up because we're getting on for 2 hours. I think, it's Barry giving us a... There we go. Finished 10-0. So we have done an unofficial watch along on here tonight, as well as going through absolutely everything. If you've literally only just tuned in, because the numbers have spiked all of a sudden, I'm guessing that's because the game has just finished and everyone's now coming across to watch. Go back and watch the rest of the show. We had obviously spoke about Ona, spoke about issues with LSV, sustainability, top 3, spoke about everything tonight. Kirsty, Chess, you've absolutely smashed your debut on the channel. You'll definitely be back on soon if you want to come back on at some point.
Hopefully,
anytime.
Today I'm lucky because on Fridays I train. Since I'm injured, obviously I'm not training. So until I recover, which is going to be a bit of a long time, unfortunately, I'll try and hop on and hop off as much as I can. So I really enjoyed it, and thank you for all of you being so warm. And I really enjoy talking to you guys, and obviously, people hearing us and spending some time listening to us rant about football is nice. And yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for the invitation, and hopefully I get to see you guys soon. So yeah, from the little Malteser, thank you very much, guys.
100%. Your team loss is the channel's game for this Friday night.
These two have been amazing, and I have to say I do like the way in which we've split the screen. It's almost like a school disco, isn't it? Boys on one side of the room, girls on the other.
It didn't start out like that, to be fair. I could move you all around.
I was about to say, not the musical chairs again. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me on and listening to my very unprofessional opinion about all of these things. So yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you, guys.
No, you've both been brilliant. Ellie, you're fantastic as always. Thanks for coming on, and same obviously for yourself, Barry, and Andrew as well. We've got a show tomorrow. Ben and Matt are discussing more on the Lionesses, so make sure you tune into that one at 7:30. Then on Sunday, it'll be back to Sporting Local side. So Matt will be at the Her Game 2 match, actually, on Sunday for FC United. Barry, you'll be at Stevenage on Sunday?
Stevenage development squad. The Stevenage team don't have a game due to the fact that there's some teams with 1 to play, some with 2, some with 3, some with 4. It's madness what's going on down there. So yeah, I'll be watching the development squad on Sunday.
Definitely. And me and Andrew potentially will be back at Stourbridge. I've not quite decided if I'm going yet, though. So we'll potentially be over there as well. But there'll be all content all over social media as well. But no, thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you guys soon.